When somebody falls apart, don't try to put them back together. In fact, don't try to reassemble them at all. That's not your job. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm doing something special. I believe I'll start dropping them every Thursday for a while. And here's what it is. A couple of years ago, I released on the podcast the professionally recorded version of my book, the audio version of my book. I went to California to an amazing studio and recorded it. And I had this idea about rereading it on the podcast live. So it won't be as perfect. I'm going to probably have little moments where I insert my current thoughts about the concepts I wrote a couple of years ago. I'm going to record an audio and a video version of this. So I'm going to start actually trying to put some stuff on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't been over there, go check me out. I'll put the link. Well, I guess if you're listening to the audio, yeah, you can go. I'll put the link in the show notes for sure. It's just Connect Method Parenting. That's the handle or whatever they call it in YouTube. I'm not a very good YouTube person. I don't know much about YouTube yet, but it's something that's been suggested to me over and over again. And I think it'd be a fun way to connect with parents in addition to the audio podcast player. I've even thought, and we'll see how this unfolds as I get into this, but I've even thought about doing this live and having people ask questions and give feedback and share experiences. So there's a good chance I'm going to do that. But for now, we're just going to start where we start. That's what I always tell parents. It's what I had to tell myself when I was a train wreck of a parent back in the day. You know, we just have to start with where we are today. So today, if you're not watching me, you're just seeing, you're hearing the audio. But if you're watching me, you'll see that I'm just in a black hoodie with my hair pulled back and my glasses on. It's a pretty chill day. I had some coaching calls earlier today, and it's still summer here. It's July, but it's morning and it's a little chilly. So I just pulled on my hoodie after I did my morning calls to record this. So, we're just keeping it real. We're keeping it real. And I'm going to start with the very beginning of my book. It starts with a poem. Well, let me see. I'm going to start with the poem. I'm going to have a little dedication to my amazing children and my husband, who I literally couldn't have written this without, especially, well, both of them. My husband was the most amazing proofreader and gave me so much honest, feedback. And my kids, I wouldn't be who I am without my kids. Now, it's hard to believe I wrote this in 2022. It's 2025. So it's been 3 years. I'm excited to reread it out loud with you all and share my current thoughts about some of these topics. So I want to get into this first little section after the dedication. I read, or rather in the book, I wrote down a poem, not one that I wrote, but one that John Roedel wrote. If you haven't ever heard of John Roedel, you're missing out. You need to go check him out on he might be on YouTube, but on Facebook is where I found him. He also has books that you can buy on Amazon. He's so brilliant. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like that's not even accurate. Meaning it doesn't fully describe the way his poems land for me, but it's a start. We're going to start with that. I feel like every poem I read that he has written lands super deep on my heart. And I'll be thinking of a situation with a child, something I'm going through, something I'm teaching one of my parents inside of either Pivot or Mastery. And it just hits. And I often am sharing his poems with my people, and it's awesome. So let's start with this. His poems don't typically have names. So this is a poem that I believe is also in his book called Remedy. It's a pink cover. You can get it on Amazon. I'll try to put that in the links below so you can go grab a copy if you want. So here's how it goes. He says, When somebody falls apart, don't try to put them back together in your image. In fact, don't try to reassemble them at all. That's not your job. Instead, lay on the ground with them and scoop as many of their broken pieces into your hands as you can. And every now and then whisper to those pieces, "This is not forever." That's your job. Wow, right? It just hits you. It's so profound. And I want to just share a couple of thoughts about this poem that to me, when I think about picking up the pieces, coming alongside my child who is struggling, who is having a big emotional tantrum perhaps, who has been uninvited from something or not invited to something or failed a test or not gotten into a certain school or program, this poem comes to my mind and I feel like he illustrates it so perfectly. This idea that we just have to whisper, this isn't forever. We don't need to try to put them back together. We don't need to try to fix them. We don't need them to look like us. We just need to be there to support them. And I love that so much. So thank you, John, for allowing me to include this beautiful poem in the front of my book. It was so kind of him to let me do that. I reached out hoping, crossing my fingers that he would be okay with it. And when he gave me permission, I was so grateful. So the next part of the book is where I just not introduce myself, but I kind of just say, hey, welcome to the book. So I'm going to read it because I think it's kind of fun to invite you in metaphorically like I did the readers of my book, because that's what we're doing together. We are experiencing Connect Method Parenting together, whether you're reading my book or you're coming along for the ride on this audio journey as I read it on the podcast in a fresh way for the second time, but in a fresh way. So I start with, hello there, friend. That's exactly what we are now, by the way. We're going to be spending a nice chunk of time together, and I don't spend time with just anyone. I want you to know I've got your back. Things we're going to cover in this book are designed to give you everything you need to create exactly what you want as a parent. I would say relax and enjoy the ride, but some of the things I'm going to take you through will feel a bit uncomfortable, maybe sometimes even a lot uncomfortable. I wouldn't be doing my job if that wasn't the case. I just have to pause there and say, I truly believe that if you take the principles that I teach in this book and you apply them in your life, it will change your parenting. And I did try to give you everything I possibly could give you that I could give you. I do work with so many people who read the book and then think, okay, I would like a little bit of help. And I get that. And I love that. And I want that for whoever wants that. But if you feel like, hey, I just want to DIY this, you can take this book and you can apply it and make it work for you. So I just want to say I am so grateful for all of the things that I learned along the way that I have tried to write about in my book. And I truly do hope that you will be able to take it and either do it yourself or come work with me in some capacity, whether it's a workshop or in Pivot or longer term in CMP Mastery. However works for you, know that my heart's desire is that you take the principles of a connective base of parenting, one that's built on connection, not correction. It's not that we don't set limits. We do. Some people read my book and they say, well, I mean, this feels like you're not going to give them any boundaries and limits. That's not true. But I do feel like I often will err on emphasizing the connection over correction because we do live in a society where we so easily step right back into correction, consequences, punitive stuff. And so I'm really trying to make the case for, hey, we actually don't need to do that in the way we've been doing it. We set limits, we set boundaries from a connection-oriented space, from that lens, and then everything changes. It really, really does. Okay, let's continue on. I know parenting is one of the most important things you've ever wanted to do. I also know you can create exactly what you want with your kiddos. That dreamy relationship, better listening, and loads of fun. And that is exactly what you're going to be able to do. But being the good friend I am sometimes means you got to speak the truth. You've got to call out the stuff that keeps you stuck in the land of parenting frustration. I promise I'll do my best to do this in as loving a way as possible. It's time to change things up, unless you're happy with the way things are. If you want something different, better relationships, more listening, fun, and cooperation, you've got to do something different. Lacking the Connect Method parenting toolset is the only thing that's held you back from creating what you wanted with your family. But that's about to change. Woohoo! It takes a courageous human to go within and parent from a place of connection, not correction, to abandon punishments and rewards. I'm going to challenge your parenting paradigm, make you question what you really want, and help you create a new default way of parenting. It's going to feel gloriously uncomfortable and brilliantly satisfying. On the other side, you'll be living the parenting dream you've always wanted. It's my intent to spark a parenting renaissance within you. After all, you're reading this book because you want something more for you and your kids. We aren't here for a long time in the grand scheme of things, so let's get cracking. I'm here to be your cheerleader every step of the way. I even will pull out my pom-poms because that's what friends do after all, right? I've written this book like a series of short chats, topics, stories, graphics that together make an arsenal of awesomeness. It was written to be read from cover to cover. However, if you're feeling spontaneous or one of the chapters tickles your fancy, feel free to dip into that part of the book and glean what you need. Either way is brilliant. Now, in the first 2 parts of the book, I share the foundation of Connect Method parenting. In part 1, I help you translate Connect Method parenting into real life. By the end of the book, you'll be equipped to take the principles, the philosophies, and processes of Connect Method parenting and apply them in a way that works for your individual needs. I know, you guys, I know that your kids are all different. I know some of you have kids with ADHD. Some of you guys have kids that are hypersensitive. You have kids that you've adopted that are maybe struggling to connect. I get it. So you got to adapt them to your individual needs, but the overarching principles will apply. So corrective parenting is like playing the slot machine in Vegas. You lose most of the time, but win just enough to fool yourself into thinking it might just work this time. You might just hit that $2 million jackpot. Now let me save you from the pain of continuing your corrective parenting habits. Because Connect Method parenting is like investing in a pension fund. You get proven results and consistent growth because you're playing the long game. Connect Method parenting is the best way to feel genuinely amazing as you parent your children, the fastest way to create dreamy relationships with your kids that are full of trust and compassion, relationships that are so solid that when they're struggling, they want to come to you for help, support, and advice. And I just have to say, I'm pausing here for a minute. My daughter handed me a card last night, and I opened it up, and I'm going to get emotional. One of the things she said is, I know I can talk to you about anything and that you'll listen, that you'll always listen. And I just had to take a deep breath and take it in, because that's what I've always wanted, from my kids. It's always what I've wanted to provide for them. And so for her to say that to me was just like, it was like the jackpot at the end of the rainbow. It was so good. And that's what I want for every single one of you, is to put aside the judgment, put aside the resistance, put aside anything and everything that's going to get in the way of you creating the kind of trust and the relationship you want, that your 17-year-old will give you a card one day and say, hey, Mom, thank you for always listening. I know I can talk to you about anything. I know you'll listen to me. And that means the world to me. That means the world to me to know that she feels safe with me and that none of her is off limits or too much for me. And I've had to work on myself to create that and really study what's developmentally appropriate as well to get to that place. And anyway, it was so amazing to have that. So I do that not to say, wow, I'm anything special. I'm not anything special. What's possible for me is possible for you. It is. You just have to do the work to make it happen. So where was I? I think I might have already read this, but we'll just say it again because I'm not 100% sure. Once you start Connect Method parenting, no situation will stump you. You'll feel confident and connected no matter what shenanigans your kids throw at you. Oh, I think that was the right place to start, because I think I ended with, they'll want to come to you for help, support, and advice, which is the paragraph above. So let me pause here for one more minute. When I say that Connect Method parenting will help you handle whatever situations come up, I really mean it. because the principles that everything is based on will be, or rather create, a strong foundational knowledge and emotional capacity so that you will be able to problem solve and help guide and assist your kids no matter what they are doing. I also want to say, popping back into the book, you already have everything you need inside of you to change your home. I really believe that the goodness you have, that care, that desire to show up as the most authentic version of yourself so you can be that amazing mom or dad for your kids. It's there. I know it. And there might be something getting in the way. So Connect Method Parenting just cracks open that parenting genius inside of you and helps you see it and experience it and feel it so that you can create exactly what you want. So let's get started. That's my opening letter in the book. And maybe we'll just start there, or stop there rather. Or should we start? Yeah, I'm just going to stop there. Let's see. We've been going, I'm going to try to keep these kind of short and sweet. Yeah, 16 minutes is perfect, around that time. So I'm going to leave it at that. We'll jump into part 1. Get ready to go against tradition. Next time I drop an episode where I'm reading the book. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this every other episode or just kind of go through the book until I'm done with it. I'm not really sure. But next time we pop into the book, I will start with part 1. And then we're going to go through the chapters under that where we really unpack behavioralism, how we got into this mindset that telling our kids what to do and not to do is parenting. And then we go into part 2, which is understanding your own behavior so you can make room for theirs, which is also the first CMP strategy. But we're going to really look at what we do have control over, what we can change in our parenting so that the kids want to listen to us, how we create our reality, what our beliefs are doing, how our emotions are fueling what's going on in our life, all of that. And then we're going to go into part 3 where I combine 2 of the CMP principles is how I did it in the book. Strategy 2 is consistently connect and strategy 3 is choose closeness. So I combine those into part 3 of the book, how to connect consistently and choose connection even when you want to yell. And I take you through the seen and heard framework, which is one of my favorite tools. So that is what is in store for this new series where I'm going to be reading from my book. Here it is from my book that I wrote 3 years ago. Hard to believe it was published 3 years ago, almost to the date. I think it was June of 22. So almost to the month. It was published that many years ago. I'm going to read it fresh, add new insights, pause. Who knows where we're going to go with this? Maybe we'll do some workshopping. Maybe I'm going to do this live. I'm not really sure, but we're going to have some fun and unpack Connect Method Parenting in its entirety over the course of these episodes. Well, I guess that's what I'm always doing, but through the lens of the book I wrote. And I have some other cool things in process. So I thought it would be fun to revisit the book so that we can get ready for other things that are coming up in the pipeline. All right. Have an amazing, amazing day. Go connect with your kids. If you need anything, join me on another episode. Come to a workshop. If you're in the YouTube universe and you see this and you're watching this episode and you see it there, you can post a comment underneath. I'll try to check those. I'll try to figure out YouTube. This will be fun. Share this with a friend. Let people know about Connect Method Parenting. We're here to change the world, one connection, one child, one relationship, one parent at a time. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Time to get on up.